Thanks, guys. Well, now that we've spent ridiculous amounts of time just explaining sort of what P-zombies are and if they are, in theory, real, how they affect your life, I'm sure at this point you're a little freaked out and you're probably feeling something like this. So now we're going to try and see how philosophy denies the existence of these zombies, and we'll see if we can somehow prove they don't exist, or we'll see if we'll just have to learn to live with the possibility that they do. So one of the philosophical branches of thought that makes an argument against the existence of P-zombies is known as physicalism. And obviously if we take out the first 8/11ths of the word, we would find physical. So obviously, physicalism is based on physicality and what is tangible and physical. So physicalists argue that because everything physical about a P-zombie and a human are identical, therefore P-zombies are humans, and therefore P-zombies don't exist. An example of a physicalist argument might go something along the lines of, when humans speak, the sound is created by a physical vibrating of the vocal cords. Now, this can be traced back to some sort of process in the brain that sends the signals to these vocal cords, which originally stems from the mind because we think about what we want to say before this all begins. So the physicalist would argue that because the action of speaking for a P-zombie stems from the same physical vibration of the vocal cords as a human, therefore they must be directly related how they work. So if it begins in the mind for the human and produces the exact same physical process in a P-zombie, it must therefore stem from a pearl just like the human. Now, one of the primary arguments against the physicalist school of thought is the separation between brain and mind, which I've illustrated in this space here. Now, I know that when I speak, what I'm saying starts in my mind, then it heads to my brain, I guess, which sends these signals to my vocal cords, which causes them to vibrate. Now, there's no way for me to know that some sort of automated, almost robotic-like brain can't just arbitrarily, based on sort of an input-output, non-conscious system, just arbitrarily send out signals to the vocal cords that get them to vibrate. Now, there's no real proof for this, because the mind is so intangible that there's no way to say that the mind is necessary before the brain can send out these signals. This is, once again, physicalists are sort of, assuming they have minds, are jumping to the conclusion that because they have minds, and their minds do directly control their speech, going mind, brain, speech, that this is the same for everyone else, and there aren't P-zombies out there whose brains can arbitrarily cause speech on their own without any type of conscious thought. Now, you may be wondering why I'm wearing lab goggles. And the reason for this is because I wanted to trick you guys into thinking that I am indeed a scientist. And I decided, what better way to make you think this than to behave like a scientist? Oh my god, that totally brings us into our next school of thought, behaviorism. I don't think I need to remove the first part of that for you again, because it's pretty obvious that it's based on behavior. So, the aptly named behaviorism basically stipulates that the defining characteristic that defines what something is its behavior. So, therefore, if pea zombies are behaving exactly as a human would, they, just like before, must be human, and that essentially means they don't exist because they're humans. So I guess one of the quick and easy arguments against behaviorism is the simple fact that things can behave in ways that are not true to themselves. Just like how people can act out of character, and certain animals, especially in tricky situations like being pursued by a predator, they may try to act like or emulate another animal that the predator is not willing to prey on. Or how, like I said, machines can act like humans. Things are not necessarily constrained to acting or behaving in a way that directly relates to what it is. So just like I will not always act like myself, a zombie will not always act like a mindless being, especially in the case of pea zombies, because they put up the veil of being human. The third school of thought that attempts to tackle the existence of pea zombies is known as materialism. And materialism is similar to physicalism, but not quite the same. Materialism basically states that everything in the universe is made up of one kind of material, or one kind of matter. And anything that is intangible, like thoughts or memories, has to somehow be connected to and stem from something that is real and made of this matter. So anything that affects the matter will then affect these intangible things. Materialism says that these zombies can't exist because they would be an example of things that are purely physical and they are changing, but they're not directly affecting any immaterial thing. As the zombie's materia or matter is changing, it's not, there's no intangible thoughts or anything to be affected by this change in matter. The interesting thing about this argument is that generally it's simply just flipped around, and says that zombies prove that materialism doesn't exist. That if you are even able to imagine a world just like this one, but entirely populated by zombies, pea zombies, well, firstly, what you would notice is that it's just like this one, and the only difference is no one has a mind, and therefore there are no changes to these immaterial things as a result to these changes caused to matter and materia. And it's argued that if you can even imagine this world, and it's not difficult, then obviously materialism is false and it can't exist.